And hello there, my viewer. Welcome to Science TV. This is the 4 p.m. brief news where we get to inform you what's happening in the country. My name is Videlis Njoki, and this is my sign name. Thank you for joining us, and let's inform you what's making headlines. On to our first news update. The government has disbursed 4.6 billion shillings under the Inua Jamii program to support vulnerable individuals across the country. The fund targets elderly citizens, persons with severe disabilities, and orphans and vulnerable children enrolled in the Social Protection Scheme. The Labour Principal Secretary, Mr. Joseph Motari, attributed the Day in June payment as an extensive data cleanup exercise aimed at ensuring that only eligible beneficiaries receive the support. He emphasized that the government's commitment to transparency and efficiency in delivering social protection services. Beneficiaries can access their funds through their respective bank across the country. The PLs also assured that future payments will resume their regular schedule now that the verification process is complete. I believe that this process is going to be seamless and allow people to overcome the barriers which they are facing right now. So please make sure you take action, and I'd like to encourage every other person to make sure they join the program. If you're elderly or if you have a severe disability, please make sure you join the program and you can learn more and even get to benefit. Sometimes you get to have a lot of challenges, maybe from a very young age, but once you connect them and share the ideas, we are not going to be missing out, but we are all going to be inclusive without feeling like we have to do so much. This is a very good initiative to support the elderly and persons with disability, especially for those who can't stand on their own. But away from that news update, we have President William Ruto has opposed leader Raila Odinga and opposition leader Raila Odinga have established a 5-member committee to oversee the execution of their joint 10-point agenda, as outlined in the Memorandum of Understanding signed on March 7th. The committee is chaired by the former nominated Senator Agnes Zani. The agenda focuses on fostering national unity and tackling pressing issues such as corruption, youth employment, devolution, constitutionalism, and full implementation of the Nadoko report. Other committee members include Fatuma Ibrahim, Kevin Kerie, Gabriel Ogunda, and Javas Bigambo. In a joint statement on 6th August, President William Ruto and Raila Odinga announced the creation of a joint secretariat led by executive secretaries from both UDA and ODM, and the team, founded by the two parties, will report to the leaders bi-monthly and brief the UDA ODM parliamentary group quarterly, and their first sitting is scheduled for August 18th, with the final status report expected by March 7th, 2026. from how we see the two parties working, the partnership which they are having, and creating a committee to make sure they have an agreement. I hope that we're going to be having a report that is going to be showing us where we can work on and how to improve on the agendas that they had set aside. I believe that this is a very important initiative that is supposed to actually going to allow us to see or look back where we were going wrong and allow ourselves to move to the next level. On other news updates, we have Trans Nzoia Governor George Natembeya has threatened to leave the Democratic Action Party of Kenya, that is DAP-K, citing frustration over internal resistance to reforms. He accused the party leader Eugene Wamalwa of blocking efforts to transform the party into a national political force. Natembeya claimed that his attempts to initiate structural and ideological changes aimed at broadcasting the party's appeal beyond its traditional strongholds have been met with opposition from Wamalwa and his allies. The governor warned that unless the party embraces inclusivity and national representation, he may be forced to seek alternative political avenues ahead of the 2027 general election. And for this, I really think that it's about time we take initiative and change from the way we used to do things in the traditional way. If we get to transform ourselves and get to have new structures, things are going to work collaboratively and we are going to build a stronger party for 2027. And probably they will get more positions and they can have better in the election. And away from that news update, the basic education principal secretary, Mr. Julius Bitok, has directed a countrywide crackdown on schools defying the Traffic Amendment Act of 2017. This act restricts schools bus operating between 6 a.m. and 6 p.m. Speaking during the opening of the 97th Kenya Music Festival at Meru, and Bitok emphasized that no school bus should be on the road outside the legally stipulated hours, warning that violators will face serious consequences. Bitok cited reports indicating that many school buses continue to operate past the legal limits, putting learners' lives at risk, and he instructed regional, county, and sub-county education directors to enforce the law strictly and ensure total compliance, stating that the ministry will not compromise on student safety. The directive comes in the wake of the past strategies, which include the 2016 Kisii crash that killed 11 students and the 2017 Nakuru accident that left 10 people's death, both involving late evening travels. These incidences led to the 2017 amendment of the Traffic Act to curb risk associated with nighttime transport. However, the enforcement has remained lax until now. I think that is a very important initiative, and this is the right action where we have to make sure our students and our children are safe. Because sometimes we get to have students on the road late at night, and we know that night travel is not the best. Some are going back to school from different settings, It's better if we follow such a constitutional act, which is there to make sure that our children are not pushed to danger. But I really hope that this law is going to be enforced. They're going to have a better follow-up, and the rules set are going to be adhered to effectively. Allow us to move on to other news update, where Kericho Governor Eric Motari is facing a new impeachment motion that is filed by the MCA Nicholas Chumba. They're citing fresh evidence of fraudulent payments, irregular procurement, and misuse of public fund. A report adopted by the County Assembly revealed that financial impropriety and lack of oversight Soweto Ward MCA Kiprotich Rogoi, who once defended the governor, now claims that all county works were paid for in advance, despite over 1 billion shilling in pending bills, and he also accused Motari of leading a land grabbing and coercing women into inappropriate acts. Motari has denied the allegations, noting that the County Assembly failed to achieve the required 2/3 majority. He previously survived a Senate impeachment attempt in October 2024. This is really alarming, and I believe that after the last impeachment was not done, and now it's happening a second time, there is a case. Maybe he's going to defend himself again. Maybe there's just a lot of happening. There's a lot of topics going on. But if enough evidence is presented in court, I'll assume that there needs to be arrest or action taken to make sure the matter is well taken care of and solved. And they have to make sure that they verify their sources and understand that this is just not a matter of jealousy or pushing each other, but a matter which needs urgent. Another news update, there was chaos at Naivasha GK prison on Wednesday evening as nearly 3,000 inmates, including over 1,000 on life and death row, staged protest following the death of their fellow inmates. The prisoners boycotted meals and engaged wardens in running battles, alleging that the deceased died after being assaulted by prison officers. However, the prison officers in charge, Mr. Gerald Ogume, dismissed the claim, stating that the inmates died while receiving treatment at Naivasha Sub-County Hospital and not within the prison premises. Mr. Ogume attributed the unrest to a section of inmates who were reluctant to work and were using the incident to incite chaos within the facility. Despite the prison administration maintaining that order was restored, some inmates have vowed not to eat or return to work until justice is served, insisting that the death was as a result of manhandling and brutality by prison wardens. That is very, very alarming, and I hope there's going to be an intervention and a very good investigation to understand what really happened, what went on, and make sure we restore peace back to the people, because this is so alarming. Having someone who is already imprisoned and then passing on, and then there's this claim. This is very, very alarming. I hope that action is going to be taken and there's going to be interventions. Maybe there's going to be a court ruling that is going to be passed to allow justice, because we have to protect our prisoners. On other news updates, a man suspected of committing a series of brutal murders in Jem Yala in Siaya County was arrested and later launched by an armed-angry mob. Mr. Charles Onyango, who is an alias of Kwa, was captured in Kibos in Kisumu County after residents tipped off the police. He had been hiding while posing as a herdsman for now nearly 2 months. Police confirmed that Onyango's arrest and linked him to the killings of several women and school girls in the area. His capture brought temporary relief to the fearful community as authorities transported him to Yala police station for further processing. However, on Thursday morning, enraged locals stormed the station and demanded his release. Officers handed him over and the mob launched him at the Yala Boda stage where his body was burned. Investigations into the mob justice incident are ongoing. The brutal killing and burning of this man is actually raising a lot of concerns about the level where the citizens were enraged, because killing of the women and the school-going girls, that was very, very alarming and a very big case that needed a lot of intervention. And the fact that the mob was so angry to the point they had to end his life, it shows that it was a very chaotic scene. But from that, we have President William Ruto has sent his heartfelt condolences to the people and government of Ghana following a tragic military helicopter crash that claimed the lives of 8 individuals, including 2 government ministers. The crash occurred in Ghana's Ashanti region, sparking national mourning and widespread grief, and President William Ruto expressed solidarity with Ghana, praising the dedication of the victims and offering Kenya's support during this difficult time. He affirmed Kenya's commitment to strengthening ties with Ghana and standing with them in moments of sorrow and loss. Here at Science TV, we are also sending our condolences to the families who have lost their loved ones in this tragic incident, and I really hope that their souls will rest in peace. That is all we had prepared for you, my viewer. Thank you for joining us here at Science TV News. I have been your host, Videlis Njoki, and this is my sign-in. Goodbye for now, and I'm looking forward to see you next time. My sign language interpreter has been Asta Kendi.